and welcome. So today we're going to go over a topic that's been pretty popular and something that's not often really talked about. I have made a presentation, and because I am not tech savvy and I have not actually figured out how to create the best video, so how I wanted to present this was the presentation over the whole picture and then me talking in the corner, but I'm not that tech savvy. So what we're going to do is I will pull up the presentation here in a little bit and I'll just do a voiceover presenting the presentation. And so this you will be watching on my YouTube channel, but you can always find me at Guardian Angel Equine Services at Facebook. All my links will be in the description, so you can always email me or something, ask me questions, and if I don't have the answers, then I can either find them for you or point you to the direction to get those answers. So I am no, by any means, a specialist in any of this area. So what I am going to be doing today is just kind of going over my opinion based on the information I found during my personal research. And I did my own little experiment, kind of, I guess, and we will go over that as well and what my findings were with that. Do keep in mind this presentation is not shooting any businesses down or any one person down or anything like that, or necessarily even showing in favor of anything either. This is just presenting information that I have found for you to gather your own opinion or even do your own research as well. So I am not naming anybody I've talked to. I'm not naming any company that I have or have not used, because this is not a person in itself. It is the whole industry as a whole as hair analysis testing and some things that should be presented to you if you choose to do this or not. And I feel like it's some very good information that you should probably just kind of look at least, and make your own opinion. So this is not me trying to persuade you to believe or not to believe in what is presented. It's just presenting the information for you to make your own assessment. And I will be giving my own opinion, but I'm not trying to put down anyone who has used hair analysis or who has not used hair analysis. So this is just presenting the information for you to form your own opinion, and hopefully no one hates me for that, because I know a lot of people who do hair analysis and I love them to death. I've done it myself, and so let's get into the presentation. Okay, so now for the presentation. To start, I just want to say that this is formed on my own opinion based on my findings while researching this topic. I'm not a nutritionist, vet, or anything with a degree. I am just a horse owner who wants what's best for my horse. I've been riding for over 16 years, training for about 10 years, and I have graduated from a technology center with the degree of equine production, which has certified me to do all sorts of things with horses or horse-related things. We have had nutritional topics, basic care need topics, things like that. So of course, I think it's safe to say I have the basic information of what the needs are for a horse. So anyway, I am certified equine sports massage. It's been almost a year now that I've been certified, and my daily full-time job is a vet assistant. So working in the vet world, I come across things that I like to research a lot more often than I should, and so I like to jump down rabbit holes, as you could probably say. I created this so you could form your own opinion, so thank you for joining. I hope you like it and learn something. You can always ask questions. I have my email linked in the description, so if you have something that you even want me to do a presentation over, I would gladly do that. Let's get into this presentation and start with what is hair analysis testing. So hair analysis testing has been around for a long time, but just because it's been around doesn't necessarily make it the best option, if you know what I'm saying. So science is growing every day. We learn more and more and improve every day. So there are many different types of testings of all sorts, such as nutrition, lameness and weakness in the muscle, bones, and so on, toxicities, drugs, genes, and more. So we've got different types. And so today we will go over my findings on hair analysis based on nutritional needs, and I will link everything that I've found at the end of the presentation. There are a lot more resources than I've presented, so feel free to start your own research. Remember, when searching, there may be limited data or resources. The most information I've found come from human studies, so I would like to say you might want to take that with a grain of salt. But unfortunately, science doesn't always have the answers that we would like, and most topics are still being studied and or need to be studied more. So hair analysis testing is mainly you find a company or laboratory or veterinarian in some cases who will send out the hair. And so if you're going through a company, they send you instructions on how to obtain the hair and ship it. And then once they receive it, they test it for whatever specific issue that you are wanting them to analyze it for. Takes about typically 2 weeks to get your results. Some faster, some maybe longer, depending on the time of year or holidays. That might be around the corner. Most places, they send a picture or a copy of your results through the mail, or they will text you or email you, or they'll even call you to discuss your results. So things that you can do. Most places have their own line of products that you can buy from, and so with that being said, not only are they looking to make money off the hair analysis testing, but they're looking to make money off of their own products. Just keep that in mind. So most people will have their own products that they can refer you to use. Let's get into hair analysis for nutrition, since that's mainly what we are going to be focusing on. Most studies or articles talk specifically about minerals. There are some who talk about toxins, allergens, and so on, but there's not abundance of studies about all of it, so especially for equine. So before getting into the studies themselves, let's talk about what can affect and plays a part in the hair in itself and the testing in itself. There are multiple trials of numerous people that I've talked to, whether it be an owner or even a vet or even a nutritionist. They have sent hair out to see for themselves, since it's so easy and in some cases cheap. You can send out a sample from the same horse and either send it to one sample labeled as two different horses, or sending them to two different companies or labs. And so there's been numerous that have come back with different results, and we'll kind of go over why exactly that can be. The reasons vary greatly, just saying. So may keep that in mind. The things that can affect the test are where the hair was taking, the environment, seasons, color, products used, gender, age, labs and companies, the hair growth in itself. So I decided to talk a little bit about two different topics here, hair growth and nutrition, since those two play the huge part of why we're testing this. Hair growth, if you own horses, I'm pretty sure you've probably asked someone or yourself what products you could use to make the hair grow faster. That is like the number one most common question above among equestrians, especially if you were in the show world. So I took it up on myself to kind of figure out how long it takes horse to grow, how much mane it grows in about a month, which is a loaded question because the most common answer I got was 1.5 inches a month is how much they grow. But if you know anything about pedigrees or genetics, then you know that genetics and breed play a huge role in hair growth, such as my boy. He did not get those genetics. He grows maybe an inch, if that, a year. So when you're sending your hair out, because it is growing, you do need to keep in mind that the results you are getting from are mainly from a month ago. So that's also something to keep in mind as well. I think that most people who do send out hair have already kind of put that together themselves, but it's something to definitely consider depending on what the situation is. Some products can contaminate the sample by stripping the hair or changing the levels of the hair in itself. Different products. So if you're in the show world, you may want to look at your products and what kind of ingredients are in there. I know some people who are in the show world are huge about what type of products they use and what ingredients are in it. But something to think about as well. So let's kind of get into some points in nutrition. Of course, because I can't do a whole presentation over both of these in this presentation, we kind of just cut out some specific parts. So nutrition, as we know, every horse nutritionally is different. They have their own different requirements. There are some things that change depending on environment, age, gender, seasons, so much more. And these things can even change within the horse. So as the horse grows, from being yielded, the environment in itself, and of course seasons change year round. So those are things that your horse's nutritional needs aren't the same as when it's born to when it dies. Their nutritional needs change all the time. And so I think that's important to take note of. The body in minerals and how it stores, metabolizes, all that interesting and difficult to understand stuff. I did not like nutrition. It was very hard to understand for me, but I tried my best to relay this in the best way possible. So if I am wrong, please do not shoot me, but I tried my best. So I just wanted to talk about a couple things that can happen within the body. Like minerals can interact with themselves, and the body can store things in different places, and how they use whatever vitamin or mineral or whatever it is, it plays a huge part in how the results will come up and how they are read. So that's something to kind of think about as well. So when testing, also need to realize that testing only reflects nutrition in the hair at the time that the hair was grown, and not necessarily what's in the whole body. So that's also something that you need to take note of. Something else I wanted to add was about toxins. Toxins in themselves are sometimes missed because they are stored deep inside the body. This is not just for hair analysis, but it has been shown that it's in other types of testing, toxins can be missed. So do keep that in mind as well. Allergies can be positive due to lack of immune system or an hyperactive immune state. This could indicate poor gut health, since 70% of the immune system is controlled by the gut. That's something to kind of take note of as well. So most of this is telling me that, you have to really have faith in the person you're sending it to accurately read, because the results can come back with whatever the results are, but it could be due to some other reason. So you got to know how to accurately read the test and who has the right information to read those tests. I guess. So let's move on to companies, labs, and products. Some companies ask for a list of food and supplements and everything they ingest prior to, or actually, most of them I've talked to request the information before they run the test. Some of them may ask after. I'm not 100% sure. But most of them I've used have asked for it before, and it kind of makes me feel like maybe you're not getting the best of your money, because you don't have to know what I'm feeding my horse in order to run the test, if that makes sense. It would make more sense to me, or I guess it would make me believe it a little bit more if you wanted to run the test, then ask me what I'm feeding and talk about options and ask those questions after the test. That's just me, though. All I'm saying is you don't know what they're doing with your test, with those results. They could be researching your feed, supplements, whatever, and whatever they don't agree with using in horses, they may just say, this horse isn't reacting very well, and just be playing a guessing game or thinking, well, maybe this is causing a problem, I'm just saying. That's kind of how I feel about it. But anyway, so many companies and or laboratories have different protocols onto how they request, ship, and prep and test the samples. So there are no standards or regulation for the equine hair analysis to go by. So it's just like what that specific facility thinks is the best way to do it, which I feel like is one of the biggest problems, because when you talk about human hair analysis, it's kind of like the veterinarian industry, where you have protocol and like all the veterinarians have to follow a set of rules, protocol, safety regulations, things like that, as to where in the human hair analysis, it's the same thing. They have to follow rules, regulations, things like that. Or from what I've read, they do anyway. But when it comes to equine, all that is just falling apart. It's just, I feel like almost anybody could read a book or two and start their own hair analysis company. Is kind of how it's compared anyway. Most companies make their money by selling products, their own products that they are making. And so usually those companies cost anywhere from $20 to $40 for the test sample. And then they have their line of products you can choose from depending on the horse's needs afterwards. However, I'm not sure if those companies actually send their sample out to actual laboratories, or if they are using their own type of machinery or bought a machine or analysis thing. I don't know. I was not 100% prepared for this presentation, but hopefully your expectations aren't that high. So you don't know what exactly they're using to test, as to where I've met a couple, or not met, but talked to a couple of veterinarians who do actually like hair analysis testing, but they send the hair out to a laboratory, which in return costs around $100 or more for the test. So you're comparing that to that. And some of the veterinarians I talked to, they pretty much said that they, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but felt like they are either waving a magic wand over the hair to get the results, or they have bought or accumulated equipment that they felt were not grade enough to actually get an accurate result. So that's also something to think about. Me working in the vet industry, I tend to trust the vets' opinions over just some people, but I just wanted to present that theory there for you. And we will go on to studies and discussions. I have spoke with veterinarians, as I've said, nutritionists, riders, and owners of all sorts. I mainly just ask their own thoughts and opinions and as well as their experience if they had any. Like I said, I'm not naming anybody because mainly I did not have the permission, and it's not about the people, it's about the industry as a whole that we are taking a look at here. So most people who liked hair analysis testing mainly liked the products. That products seem to help in some cases. So that was mainly not necessarily hair analysis testing itself or the results, but mainly whatever product that they recommended seemed to help the horse. So I personally do use their products, and I will continue to use the products because some of the products I have used worked very well. And most companies like this, their products are typically herbs. So I feel like herbs are most common in these areas, but some of them do work. And so that's just something that I wanted to put out there, that I'm not trying to attack anyone because I personally do use their products. So I don't think that you need a hair analysis test done before you buy their product. I think you can just contact them and buy their product if you think that it's needed. You don't have to have a test done. So I probably, yeah, however, anyway. However, that's probably why they only cost $20-ish to do that, because their products, some of their products are expensive, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But most people that are against testing is because of personal experience or some type of education. So they have a higher education of nutrition or something, and they just didn't feel the need to do it. Or personal experience, such as I said, multiple people have actually taken it up on themselves to send out multiple hair samples from the same horse to one or different companies and come back with different results. So that practice was actually more common than I thought. I wasn't sure that many people would actually do that themselves, but they did. So I talked to a veterinarian who uses hair analysis for his vet program. It cost around $130 to get it done. And he said specifically himself that he felt like to get the best accurate results is you needed to know how to read the results and have the knowledge to know how the body works and stuff like that. So let me see here. He stated that he didn't care for the smaller businesses. He felt like they were just making money to sell, or they were just looking to make money to sell their product. Again, this presentation's only to help you figure out if it's worth your time or not. Unfortunately, most well-done studies are over humans, and they are still researching equine hair analysis. While humans and horses are similar, I'd say it's safe to say take human studies with a grain of salt. Horses are different nutritionally, or horses have different nutritional needs, not only from us, but from other animals. Some studies with horses, I'd say are not conclusive, while others make you think a little harder and wonder what is true or not. So, like I said, multiple cases of the same horse sample coming back different. People who were against it just felt like it was not accurate enough. They tended to feel that the people who were selling the products seemed to be more of a better salesman than a hair analysis tester, I guess. There were some concern with some veterinarians about medical attention, where the horse may actually need a veterinarian have a veterinarian look at them. Rather than spending the money to go to a vet, they would spend the money to have hair analysis done, and the horse could potentially turn out in worse care than began. So obviously I would hope that's not as common, but there were a couple incidences where some veterinarians felt that was poor, I don't want to say poor ownership, but it was a medical attention problem. And so people just need to be aware. That's why I'm making this presentation, because people need to understand, is it even worth your time? And if you still want to do it, or whatever you want to do with your time, that's fine. But do understand your horse's needs. So I just felt like that was a couple things that needed to be said. So we can move on to, how do I know my horse is getting what it needs? Because that's why we're here, right? We want them to have a test done for a nutritional need, but how do we know if the hair analysis testing doesn't actually work? Then how do we know they're getting it? To me, it only makes sense to consult with a nutritionist about feeding habits, especially when you are talking about balancing supplements, ratios, and so on, all that fun stuff that you can get down a rabbit hole on in itself. To me, it's kind of like the same reason that some people don't want vets to float the teeth. They only want an equine dentist to do it for their horse, where you could pay a vet to do it, but if you have someone who specializes in that industry, you would rather want them to do it because they spend more of their time doing it than a vet would, if that makes sense. Unless you just have a vet who does it all the time, which those vets are out there. While vets may know the basic knowledge or a good amount of knowledge about nutrition, a nutritionist works, studies, and lives nutrition. That is their job. That is their life. If you have a very well-rounded vet, that is great. I hope they have a well-rounded knowledge enough to help you out nutritionally. But this is why I would take a step back, and you need to just realize and think and do what you think is best for your horse. So to me, it only makes sense to talk to a nutritionist. So there are the easiest ways to ensure your horse is getting what they need, sometimes cheaper than what you could do nutritionally. Sending out to hair analysis. So you can consult with a nutritionist, which there are multiple different places you can consult with a nutritionist for free. You have your hay and water tested, which I'm pretty sure is even as cheap as around $25-ish, I think, to have your hay analyzed and or water tested. So you take a look at those and see, do you have good hay? Do you have good water? Things like that. And then calculating and balancing their feed yourself, or you could have a nutritionist help you. But there are numerous places that you can find that you can balance it yourself. And I've listed below places where you can go to get more information on that. You can find ration balancers as well as the sites to calculate your horse's needs. So nutritionists can even point you in the direction if you need help. So the main one I absolutely love is Bluebonnet Feeds, has nutritionist consults all over the world, or I think mainly just the US, maybe. I don't know, but they have tons of nutritionist consultants that you can talk to. I don't even think you have to be feeding Bluebonnet to talk to them, but there are other numerous places I've listed here below for you to take a look at. So that's something you can do on your own. And so I feel like it may take a little less money to do that. And we'll get into that right now. So my experience, I sent Jake's hair out. Jake is my horse, my personal horse. I sent his hair out 3 to 4 months ago, I think, to be tested. I wanted to change his food and see what would happen just by putting him on a food labeled to help promote gut health, or said to help promote gut health. So the first sample was on a typical feed brand. It was Big V Heritage Performance is what I was feeding. And he was on the joint supplement Cosequin, the powder feed through, at the time. And I have nothing against either one of these products. But, sometimes when you look at the label, you could do better. The results at that time were he was allergic to corn, maybe wheat, soy, canola oil. Even every joint supplement they listed, he was allergic to everything except Summit, which they sell Summit. So, it's kind of a question there. So, he was having problems in his gut, possibly ulcers, kidneys, respiratory, hormones, or adrenals. They gave me a list of products that they recommended. I didn't purchase any at the time, mainly due to financial reasons, and also because I wanted to just switch his food and see what would happen just by switching his food. So the cost of everything that they recommended, I went through and looked at it, and it was $294.96 total to get everything they recommended at that time. I don't know who has that laying around, but I sure don't. Anyway, so I switched him to Blue Bonnet Equaline Pro Care food, and he was on that until the end of his first bag. And at the end of his first bag, we sent another sample out. He was not on any supplements at the time. When submitting the sample, I did not list any feed intake, just that he was on hay and water. I did not tell them he was on Blue Bonnet because I didn't want that to affect how they viewed his results, if any. And so I just wanted to take that possibility out of there. So the results were better. There were no results about his allergies, if they had changed or stayed the same. Not sure what their protocol is on the second time testing, but this time they didn't have any allergy results posted. So most of the issues went away as far as just switching his food. Instead of having all those numerous problems, they now only recommended the problems following with ulcers, possibly, and his adrenal glands. So needing a supplement to treat ulcers, or some type of stressor type supplement. So he went from having, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 problems to having only 5 problems to only having 2. I thought that was pretty good results considering all I did was switch his food. He's still not on any supplement at this point right now. So after each test, they offered a phone visit to chat, which I didn't take, mainly due to my work schedule. Working in a vet office, I tend to be more busy than I'd like, but that's okay. It wasn't honestly anything against them. Overall, my experience was nice, no issues. I felt most of the problems were dealt with just by changing his food, putting him on a better food, and some could argue that there's some truth to the test, or some could argue that maybe he just needs a little more time on the proper food. I personally think nutrition is very, very complicated in itself, and regulating your horse's needs are greater than having hair tests done to fix all your problems, so to say. nutritional needs are deeper than the hair. While looking at the hair is a good indicator that your horse may not be having their needs met nutritionally, but there are many components that can go into this that contribute to this. So I think the same goes for hair testing. So I will not pay for another hair analysis testing for me personally, but I may continue to use products as I see fit. If I'm being honest, if I told you I'd never buy from them again, I'd be a liar. But I will not pay for hair analysis testing. I feel like talking to a nutritionist has benefited me more than hair analysis testing. So I have found some I really like as far as products, and I will continue to use those. So I by no means think that these people are out to steal your money, or some of them maybe. Don't get me wrong. Some of them out there may truly be trying to steal your money. But I just want you, I feel like some of them really do want to help. But I just want you to be careful about who you're dealing with. However, the company I used, I thought were nice, and I will not name them because I didn't ask permission. I didn't think it was necessary because it's, again, as the industry as a whole and not just the company I used. And so I felt like they were really nice. Everything went smoothly, but I do feel like there are companies out there who are just trying to make an extra buck. So please, please do be careful on who you are actually speaking with and dealing with. Resources and topics. I've listed a couple of things here that you can look into yourself. These are things that I have read or listened to. There are way more resources than what is labeled here, and you can even find them using my links and just getting down in that rabbit hole. And I encourage everyone to do your own research. If not, at least form your own opinion from what I have presented here and do what you think is best. Now, if you do hair analysis and you like it, you don't find anything wrong with it, as long as your horse is in pretty good health, like doesn't need a veterinarian, then, sure, you do you. I'm not hating on anybody who uses hair analysis testing. I just, honestly, I just want people to understand when and when not they could utilize this. It's a very big topic, and some people just think that it's more good than bad. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. If there's anything I can help you out, or you want me to make another presentation, do a little research on it, then just let me know. All my links are in the description. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully, we'll see you again in the next video, and we will see you later. Bye.